The next speaker will be delving on matters creating secure, transparent digital infrastructures. To give us this presentation is Juan Rodriguez, who is the EMEA Sales Director, Digital Identity at Entrust, and he is the Sales Director and also a professional with more than 15 years of experience helping banks in their digital identity and security strategies for the mobile and online channels. So I believe we have Juan online. Over to our screens then.
Thank you very much, Eddie, for your introduction. So just to mention that I'm very happy to be here once again, and I hope that you can enjoy with my presentation of today. So today I'm going to talk about how to create secure and transparent digital infrastructures. Okay, so practically in all my presentations, whenever I want to kick off these presentations, I like to start talking about the market situation, giving just a couple of data, a couple of information, relevant information in order to share with the audience, in order to make you aware about where we are today, above all in the security space. So if you read all these data, all these statistics that I was collecting from different sources, really what you really need to think is that, hey, we must be conscious that security is not anymore a cost for a company, should be an investment in order really to help us to mitigate a lot of risks in the future and to continue improving. Okay, so this is my first reflection when I'm looking at these numbers. But just to talk a little bit more about a couple of numbers that I show here, one it's really bringing my attention is that 27% of the attacks came from your own staff. So that's something really relevant and makes me think that maybe many organizations should implement technologies which should allow them to control the access, the authorization, and the authentication of their users, of employees, of their staff. With that, I'm sure you will be able to mitigate quite a lot these types of attacks, okay? Another relevant number that I would like to mention a little bit more is in the retail market. When everybody is buying through internet, using their credit cards, debit cards, and acquiring products, you know, from that point is where you can find a huge breach in terms of fraud. So they are expecting in the retail, you know, to have losses around more than 150 billion, $30 billion between 2018 and 2013. So, I mean, these are numbers really relevant that, again, that should let us know and just to let us think, hey, we really need to think a lot more from the strategic point of view how to mitigate all this situation. Anyway, once we have talking a little bit about the market situation, how it looks like, the second slide I like always to talk is what types of challenges and risks we are facing today in the digital world, okay? And whenever always I'm thinking about the challenges and risks, immediately I'm thinking about three different words, which are a common denominator for this area, which are privacy, security, and safety. So if you look at the 5 different elements I bring into this slide, you can really think that, for example, when we are talking about the increasing of cyber attacks, security is a key point, a key challenge today, something that it is a risk that we really need to control somehow. But as well, another point very important, and it's becoming more relevant even, is the new data privacy regulations. Right now, you can find in the market many local regulators that are preparing different laws, different regulations regarding to how you protect the data above all of your customers, okay? How you protect the privacy of those data. So you really need to take in consideration these type of regulations because always are really affecting to your business. And to be honest, many of those regulations are the reason why many customers are launching new projects internally in order to be compliant with those regulations. So that is another challenge and risk we have to take in mind. The other one is obviously the use of smart devices. What can we say about smartphones? This is a tendency in the market unbearable. So today we cannot imagine any digital world or any digital business without using devices like mobile phones. So it's something that we really need to think always about this as a challenge, as a risk, because in all our projects, these type of devices are going to be part of our ecosystem. But not only the use of mobile phones, I would say the use of any smart device, any smart connector, any device which got a little bit of intelligence, which is able to send a message, to send a sign to our central console, and thanks to that information we collect, maybe the central console is taking different decisions, okay? So that's, we can call it IoT, everything connected as you want. But anyway, obviously, this is a challenge, this is a risk that we really need to take in mind. And the last one is the cloud environment. Everybody's talking about cloud. Obviously, the majority of people knows the benefits to go to cloud, you know, but depending where we are or where you are located, the maturity of these technologies, of these environments are higher or less mature. So, I mean, it's something that still is not 100% under control of all customers. And depending where you are, you can feel the need to move to the cloud quicker than in other areas, and above all in different segments, okay? So these are more or less the risks and challenges we must face whenever we are thinking about any digital business. But now let's start talking about how to secure infrastructures, okay? So what should I think about in order to prepare a secure infrastructure, okay? To make a plan, to design a solution in order to secure my infrastructures. So something I really need to think about whenever I'm trying to prepare or to design any solution for securing infrastructure is to think about words like signing, encryption, authentication. And why I'm thinking about those words? Because if you look at these 5 elements, once again, I bring here in this presentation, one of them is connected. How to secure the network connection. Obviously, here it's extremely important how we are going to secure all different elements which are going to be part of our network. Otherwise, we could have a lot of problems and an incredible insecurity inside of our network. Another element is how we are going to control the firmware of all the different smart devices, smart elements which are going to be part of my network. I need something which is able to manage and which is able to update and upgrade the software of all these elements, because we could assume a high risk situation if those elements are not really up to date. So that as well is something we need to think about. Another one is how we are going to authenticate all the different devices of my network. This is extremely important. I really need to know, I really need to confirm that this information I receive from the element 5, it's coming really from that element in my network, in my ecosystem, and it's not coming from another element. Because depending on that information I will receive, maybe my central console is going to take different decisions. So that is extremely important, the authentication of all my elements, of all my devices. Data, hey, what to say about data? I really need to encrypt it. I need to sign the information collected in order to protect the integrity of that information. That is another point which is going to be key and crucial in order to establish and design a strategy. And the last one is how to identify the people, the users who are going to use the different devices who are going to be part of my network. I want to control when those users with those devices get access to which applications and about what type of authorizations they've got in order to do things or other things inside of those applications. So these are elements, are things that are so important, extremely important to think about before we start designing our strategy. So once we've got this clear, let's design a strategy in order to create secure infrastructures. Okay, and here, as in the previous slides, always, whenever I'm designing this, I'm thinking about another three words. One is keys, another one is certificates, another one is secrets. Okay, and why I'm thinking about these words? Because the way we are designing this strategy is split in 3 different areas, 3 different pillars, okay? So in the first one, in data at rest, this is how I call it, I must secure the data and encrypt the information, but as well to localize and to protect the area where is located all that information in order to secure it. The second one is data in motion. I mean, to protect all the connections and to provide integrity and privacy between all the connectivities, okay? And the third one is data access, how the devices are going to be authenticated and how I'm going to identify the people who are going to use those devices. But if you think in this strategy, in these 3 different pillars, there is here a central anchor, let's say, which is the root of trust, which is fundamental to protect and manage cryptographic keys throughout their life cycle. I mean, cryptographic keys are needed to sign and validate devices, certificates for identification, device certificates for identification, and authorization, but as well keys needed to encrypt and decrypt to ensure its confidentiality and integrity. And keys as well are needed to sign code to protect the integrity of the software and firmware that runs in devices and applications as they are regularly updated. So this is something so extremely important from my point of view. And once we've got our solution design in our mind, we've got a strategy, plan it, let's talk about, or let's explain a little bit more in detail how we could build a strong trust environment. Okay, so where does a trust environment start? Okay, it would start with a strong root of trust provided by a certification authority. Having a root of trust means that the environment in the form of certificates that are issued from the root of trust are durable, okay? And how do we know it's durable? By governance, okay? Governance, for example, people, processes, policies involved in maintaining a strong ecosystem form the foundation of governance. Applying the right level of expertise to processes and policies is a building block to having a strong, secure environment. Best practices relates to compliance and having standards, regulatory or internal policies that are established as part of the governance process that are flexible enough to keep up with changing standards. So now let's look at the technologies involved with forming a digital trust. To begin, this trust environment gets generated via an HSM device. An HSM could be a piece of hardware or exist in the cloud. And an HSM generates and stores cryptographic keys. In the part of PKI, PKIs create and distribute digital certificates containing crypto algorithms and issue credentialing and non-repudiation for users and machines' identities to provide network or data access and securely transmits data within the environment, okay? And the third part, which is the identity, for high assurance use cases, digital identities, digital certificates are used to underpin a person trusted identity, either via a physical smart card or provision it and as a digital identity onto a mobile device. The key management keeps these identities secure and facilitates compliance with data privacy regulations. So as you can see, all enterprises need a strong trust of foundation in order to secure the people, systems, and things that the business relies on for securing infrastructures. As you can see, there are many use cases that we can take for granted in our daily activities, such securing data in transit during online transactions or when logging to work or accessing data, okay? So once we have pictured how we can build a strong trust environment, the last slide of my presentation is just to more or less to show you what type of technologies, what type of products and services are behind that strategy we designed it already in order to protect and to secure our infrastructures. So just following the different names we gave in the three big pillars, in the area of data at rest is where we are going to locate the HSMs, the cryptographical modules. Okay, it can be all these technologies. You can find them on cloud, in a hybrid mode, or on-prem. Okay, in data emotion is where we are setting up technologies like PKI, technologies like code signing, time stamping, digital signing. All these technologies you can find in the market and always are helping you in order to protect the different connectivities when the data are moving from one place to another. And the last area is the data access. So how we are going to secure the identity of the people and how we are going to authenticate all the different devices that are connected into our network. And in this case, we've got technologies like passwordless solutions, identity proofing, device reputation, adaptive authentication, multi-factor authentication. Okay, so the most important thing is that all these technologies, you can find it in the market and we could integrate it for you in order to provide you a real secure infrastructure. Okay, so that's all. I was really, I tried to be very, very quick in the presentation because I didn't have much time. I know that I was talking about so many big important points. If you need to have any clarification, please do not hesitate to contact me by my email, or maybe later during the sessions in the event. Okay, the sessions we've got in order to ask questions. So anyway, it was a real pleasure to be here once again with all of you, and I hope you have a very nice day.